Welcome to the Manager Lab, where we delve into the increasingly dynamic world of talent management. In each episode, we will unravel key insights, break down the most relevant books and articles, and provide actionable tips to optimize your approach in developing and retaining top talent. Stay tuned for a deep dive into the art, science, and strategy of unlocking your team's full potential. Let's enter the Manager Lab. Big change. It sounds exciting, visionary, transformational. But if you've ever led a major shift, a reorganization, a culture reset, a system overhaul, a strategic pivot, you know something most leadership books don't warn you about. It's not the middle of change that kills momentum. It's the false start. That early surge of enthusiasm followed by confusion, or the confident launch followed by quiet resistance, or the big announcement followed by stalled execution. So in today's podcast, inspired by insights from Harvard Business Review, we're talking about how to avoid a false start when you're leading a big change and how to build the kind of momentum that lasts. Because change doesn't fail from lack of intelligence. It fails from lack of alignment, clarity, and readiness. So let's get into it. A false start happens when leaders move too quickly from idea to execution without doing the deeper work beneath the surface. You announce the initiative, you roll out the slides, you set the targets, and then people hesitate. Managers interpret the change differently. Energy fades. Old habits quietly reassert themselves. The article reminds us of something powerful. Momentum is not created by urgency alone. It's created by shared understanding. So if your team doesn't fully grasp the why, the what, and the how, even the best strategy will stall. And for leaders, especially those driving transformation across regions or large workforces, this is really critical. Change is not a communication event. It is a leadership journey. So key takeaway number one, slow down before you speed up. One of the biggest traps in big change is premature execution. We think if we don't move fast, we'll lose credibility. But in reality, when leaders rush past alignment, they create friction that slows everything down later. So before launching major change, ask these questions. Do key leaders truly agree on what success looks like? Are we aligned on trade-offs? Have we clarified what will stop, not just what will start? So here's an actionable tip for managers. Before you announce a change broadly, hold a candid alignment session with your core leadership team. Not a presentation, a discussion. And ask each leader, what does this change mean for your team? What concerns do you have? Where might this break down? Surface misalignment really early in the process because alignment in private prevents confusion in public. All right, so here's key takeaway number two. Define the problem clearly. False starts often happen because leaders frame the solution before fully defining the problem. We say things like, we need a new system, we need new behaviors, or we need a new structure. But teams are thinking, what exactly isn't working right now? If the pain isn't clear, the change feels optional. So here's the inspirational truth. People don't resist change, they resist ambiguity around that change. So the actionable tip here is craft a clear problem statement in one or two sentences. Not corporate language, not buzzwords, just clear, simple human language. For example, our current structure slows decision-making and frustrates customers. That's a good one. Or we're losing top talent because managers aren't getting consistent leadership development. When the problem is undeniable, the solution then becomes compelling. All right, here's takeaway number three. Build ownership before you roll out. Another reason change efforts stall, leaders overestimate buy-in. They believe that because people nodded in a meeting, they're committed, but compliance is not commitment. The article emphasizes the importance of involving key stakeholders very early, not just informing them after decisions are made. Ownership fuels momentum. So the actionable tip here is to identify 5 to 10 informal influencers in your organization, not just those with titles, but those with trust, and engage them early on. Share drafts, invite critique, ask, what are we missing? When respected voices support the change, skepticism decreases dramatically. Especially in industries like ours, I'm in the materials and construction industry where credibility is earned through action. So peer endorsement matters more than executive messaging. Key takeaway number 4, clarify what will change and what won't. Maybe even more importantly, what won't. When people hear big change, they often assume everything is about to shift, and that uncertainty creates anxiety, and anxiety slows execution. Great leaders remove unnecessary fear by clearly stating what is changing, what is staying the same, and what values remain non-negotiable. So the actionable tip here is, in every major change announcement, include a section called What's Not Changing. It might include our commitment to safety, our core values, our investment in people, our service standards. When people know the foundation is steady, they're more willing to renovate the structure. Key takeaway number 5, prepare managers for the emotional curve. Change is not linear. There is an emotional arc. You get excitement, then confusion, then resistance, then acceptance, then commitment. False starts happen when leaders mistake early enthusiasm for lasting adoption, and managers are your bridge. If they are uncertain, overwhelmed, or unclear, the change collapses at the middle layer. So the actionable tip here is, before you launch, equip your managers with 3 things: a simple narrative that they can repeat consistently, an FAQ that addresses likely concerns, and a forum where they can ask hard questions without judgment. When managers feel confident, teams feel steady. And when managers feel blindsided, teams feel unsettled. Okay, last takeaway, number 6, measure leading indicators, not just outcomes. So leaders often track change success through lagging metrics, revenue, productivity, engagement scores, that type of thing. But by the time those numbers show trouble, it's too late. Instead, monitor these. Are leaders modeling the new behaviors? Are teams using the new processes consistently? Are conversations starting to shift? Are you hearing conversations about the change in a positive way? So the actionable tip here is, within the first 60 days of your change initiative, schedule structured check-ins focused not on results, but on adoption. Ask these questions like, what's working? Where are we reverting to old habits? What needs reinforcement? Because small course corrections prevent major resets. So here's the deeper truth about avoiding a false start. Big change is not about speed. It's about stewardship. It's about honoring the trust people place in you when you ask them to move into uncertainty. If you lead too fast, you create fear. If you lead too slowly, you create doubt. But if you lead thoughtfully with clarity, alignment, and ownership, you create belief. And belief sustains momentum. As leaders, especially those guiding large teams across regions, you are not just implementing initiatives. You are shaping culture. You are shaping capability. You are shaping the next chapter of your organization. So before you launch the next big change, pause, align, clarify, engage, and equip. Then move forward decisively and together, because the goal isn't just a strong start. It's a finish transformed. And when you lead change in the right way, you don't just avoid a false start. You create a possible, lasting legacy. And I hope that the next time you lead a big change, this cast comes to mind. And until next time we meet in the Manager Lab, do good work.